The wild boars were young boys from Mae Sai, a small town in northern Thailand. They came from different backgrounds, some from hill tribes, others from migrant families or local Thai homes. But soccer united them. Every week, they would gather for practice, chasing their dreams on dusty fields under the guidance of their assistant coach. The team was more than just a sports club, it was a family. The boys, aged between 11 and 16, shared everything: their victories, their struggles, and their adventures. None of them could have imagined that their close-knit bond would soon be tested in one of the most dramatic survival stories of modern times. The Tham Luang cave system stretches deep into the mountains of northern Thailand, a sprawling network of tunnels and chambers that has long fascinated local explorers. For generations, the cave had been a peaceful tourist attraction, its entrance marked by a sign warning visitors not to enter during the rainy season between July and November. But in June 2018, this natural wonder would become the site of one of the most dramatic and inspiring rescue operations in human history. The Wild Boars soccer team was well known in the small community of Mae Sai. The team consisted of boys from different backgrounds, some from Thailand's indigenous hill tribes, others from migrant families, and some from local Thai families. Their coach was a former Buddhist monk who had taken on the role of mentoring these young players, many of whom came from underprivileged backgrounds. On June 23rd, after their regular Saturday practice, 12 boys from the team and their coach decided to explore the cave. It was one of their favorite adventures. They'd been there several times before, usually venturing in for a short distance before returning. The boys, aged between 11 and 16, packed light, bringing only a few snacks and their bikes, which they left at the entrance along with their soccer cleats. The cave seemed safe that day. The entrance was dry, and there was no indication of the impending disaster. They planned to stay only an hour, as a birthday celebration was waiting for one of their teammates at home. They ventured deeper into the cave than usual, using their phone lights to illuminate the way, excited to explore further than they had before. What they didn't know was that the annual monsoon season had arrived early. Weather forecasts had predicted rain, but no one expected the deluge that was about to begin. While the group was deep inside the cave system, heavy rains began falling, sending torrents of water rushing into the cave's entrance. The porous limestone mountains acted like a giant sponge, channeling millions of liters of water into the cave system. The first sign of trouble came when parents began calling each other, wondering why their children hadn't returned home for dinner. One of the 13 people trapped in the cave was celebrating his birthday that day, June 23, 2018. His family had prepared a party for him back at home, with food and presents waiting. When the boys didn't return from their cave visit, the first sign that something was wrong was when this boy didn't show up to his own birthday celebration. His absence at his own party was one of the first major red flags that alerted families that something had gone seriously wrong. Worried family members rushed to the cave entrance, where they found the boys' bikes, bags, and shoes. More alarming were the fresh handprints on the cave walls, leading into the darkness. Local authorities were immediately notified, and the first responders arrived as darkness fell. The heavy rain had already transformed the cave entrance into a rushing stream. The first rescue teams, including local police and park rangers, attempted to enter but were forced back by the rising water levels and strong currents. The Thai Navy SEALs, the country's elite military divers, arrived the next morning. Despite their extensive training, they were not prepared for cave diving, which requires specialized skills and equipment. The murky water reduced visibility to zero, forcing divers to feel their way through the flooded passages. The current was so strong it ripped diving masks off their faces. As news of the missing boys spread, the operation quickly escalated. The Thai government mobilized hundreds of soldiers, police officers, and rescue workers to the site. Heavy machinery was brought in to pump water out of the cave, while teams began searching the mountains for alternative entrances or locations to drill access shafts. The challenges seemed insurmountable. The cave system stretched for over 10 kilometers, with numerous side passages and chambers. The rising water had created sumps, completely flooded sections that required diving to pass through. The water was cold, muddy, and moving with tremendous force. Oxygen levels in parts of the cave were dropping, while carbon dioxide levels rose dangerously high. By the fourth day, the operation had grown into an international effort. Cave diving experts from around the world arrived to help. British cave divers Rick Stanton and John Volanthen, who had participated in previous cave rescues, were among the first foreign experts on the scene. They were joined by divers from Australia, China, the United States, and other countries. Each day brought new challenges. The pumps were working constantly, but couldn't keep up with the ongoing rain. Engineers searched for ways to divert water away from the cave, while drilling teams investigated potential access points from above. Local farmers agreed to let their fields be flooded to help divert water away from the cave entrance, sacrificing their crops for the rescue effort. Inside the cave, the boys and their coach had retreated to higher ground as the water rose. They found a small mud bank about 4 kilometers from the entrance, in a chamber that came to be known as Pattaya Beach. Their coach, drawing on his Buddhist training, taught the boys meditation techniques to help them stay calm. They had no food but survived by drinking water dripping from the cave walls. The breakthrough came on July 2nd, 9 days after the group disappeared. Stanton and Valenthin were laying guide ropes in a chamber when they surfaced and heard voices. The moment they found the group was captured on video, showing the boys sitting calmly on their mud bank, thin but alive. "How many of you?" the divers asked. 13, came the reply. "Brilliant," the diver responded. The joy of finding them alive quickly gave way to the realization that the hardest part was still ahead. The boys were trapped 2.5 kilometers inside the cave, separated from the entrance by long stretches of flooded passages. Most of them couldn't swim, let alone cave dive. The journey out would require passing through sections so narrow that divers had to remove their air tanks to squeeze through. A massive operations center was established outside the cave, coordinating the efforts of more than 10,000 people from around the world. The plan that emerged was as daring as it was controversial. Each boy would be equipped with a full-face diving mask and wetsuit, then sedated to prevent panic during the journey, tethered to a diver, with another following behind, as they navigated through the flooded passages. Dr. Richard Harris, an Australian anesthetist and cave diver, was brought in to oversee the sedation process. It was a risky plan. Nothing like this had ever been attempted before. The boys would be unconscious underwater, their lives completely in the hands of their rescuers. The rescue began on July 8th, with the first group of 4 boys. Each rescue took about 3 hours, with divers having to navigate through narrow passages, sometimes dragging the boys over rocks when the water level was too low to swim. The boys were placed on stretchers for sections where they could be carried. Tragedy struck during the preparation phase when Samon Kunin, a former Thai Navy SEAL, died while placing oxygen tanks along the rescue route. His death highlighted the extreme dangers of the mission and led to increased safety measures, including the placement of additional oxygen tanks and safety ropes throughout the cave. The operation continued over 3 days. 4 more boys were brought out on July 9th, and the final 5, including Coach Kapil, emerged on July 10th. Each successful rescue was met with cheers from the thousands of people gathered outside the cave. The boys were immediately transported to hospitals, where they were kept in quarantine while being treated for various health issues. The success of the rescue was a testament to international cooperation and human ingenuity. More than 100 divers participated in the operation, supported by thousands of other volunteers and professionals. They pumped more than 1 billion liters of water from the cave system, drilled more than 100 holes in the mountain, and deployed everything from industrial pumps to prayer ceremonies in the effort to save the boys. In the aftermath, the story captured global attention. The boys and their coach spent 2 weeks in the hospital, gradually regaining their strength. They had lost an average of 4 kilograms each, but suffered no serious long-term physical effects. The psychological impact was another matter, and they received extensive counseling to help them process their ordeal. The incident led to significant changes in cave safety protocols in Thailand and around the world. The entrance to Tham Luang cave was equipped with better warning systems and barriers to prevent unauthorized entry during dangerous conditions. The site was later developed into a museum and learning center, teaching visitors about the rescue and cave safety. The Wild Boars team members have largely returned to normal life, though their experience has left an indelible mark on them. Some have spoken about their increased appreciation for life and family, while others have expressed interest in careers in diving or emergency services. Coach Kapil, who initially faced criticism for leading the boys into the cave, was largely forgiven by the community and praised for keeping the boys alive with his meditation teachings. The Tham Luang cave rescue stands as a powerful reminder of what humanity can achieve when we work together. It brought together people from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds, all united in the goal of saving 13 lives. The operation required not just technical expertise and physical courage, but also innovation, diplomacy, and unwavering determination. The story continues to inspire people around the world. It has been the subject of books, documentaries, and films, each attempting to capture the extraordinary events of those 18 days. But perhaps the most lasting legacy is the reminder that even in our modern world of political divisions and technological isolation, we are still capable of coming together to achieve the seemingly impossible when young lives hang in the balance.